Hello, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our review show, where we sort of analyze or rant about the weekend's actions. I mean, this week it will be a rant because some of the results didn't really go so well. I have a few, I have a few comments, but I will say though, Nishikant Sharma, I think he's banned from this show. I think for the future, I don't think we're gonna have him back on the show. I'm very pissed off. I know what people say. I'm very pissed off by having walk in the park. Okay, yeah. Anyway, we'll get to that. But first of all, I would like to welcome my guest for the show. Oh, Gaurav, welcome back once again. Nice to have you again. And
Hi, Rohit. Thanks for having me back again.
yeah, it's always great to have people who did the previous show come back for the review show because then, we kind of have at least one person to hold accountable for stuff. So it's nice to have you. It's also nice to have Knayha back on this show as well. Knayha, welcome back again.
Thanks, Rohit. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we have Shashwat as well joining us. Shashwat, welcome on the show.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you for having me on the show again.
Well, thank you for joining the show. I know it's a very difficult moment right now.
Yeah.
All right, where should we begin? Maybe we'll leave Arsenal for the end. We'll leave that game for the end. Maybe we'll start with Liverpool. We'll start with the Liverpool Burnley game. And interesting. Now, so Liverpool, I said this, I think they've kind of gone under the radar a little. I think they're coming back to their best. What I liked about Liverpool, more than, of course, the result, is something that I've always thought about Liverpool is the one thing that makes them stand out, according to me anyway, is not the fact that they win games, is that they make it look so easy at their best. They just get like 2-0, 3-0. You just wonder how it happens. They're very quietly efficient. Gaurav, I don't know if you saw the game, but it just looks at that quiet efficiency is coming back for Liverpool. It's like that they're starting to get those wins where it's routine, and they're, of course, keeping clean sheets as well, which is always a great thing. So they're getting back there.
Yeah, they definitely are. And coming back to fitness of Van Dijk and all their center backs has definitely helped. And I think, as you said, you are completely right. They are going under the radar, and I think they might be a real contender for the title this season.
Yeah,
because this is a team that won the Premier League as well as the UCL Champions League, right?
Yeah, I don't think they might be a contender. They are a contender. I think they are a contender at this point. I don't think there's a might to it. I just feel like last season, a lot of people kind of, after what happened last season, people wrote them off. But it's a good team. It's a very good team, and it's starting to gel again. And we're starting to see that. Actually, I said this. I don't think Van Dijk was the reason that they lost the league title. I don't think losing Van Dijk was as big a blow as Diogo Jota. I think losing Diogo Jota is the one that actually killed that title challenge, because as much as losing Van Dijk is a big deal, they still had defenders, and it wasn't an issue with defenders. They were just not scoring goals. Because I think that Salah, Mane, Firmino trident is kind of a bit predictable now, and I think Klopp has realized it is what he's changed it. I think Jota is the X factor, and he just does something different on the pitch.
That's exactly like that's true. But then I think what they were missing last year, Jota, was because Salah was still there. The front three. If you see now, just imagine what Klopp had planned last year is happening now.
Yeah.
This is how he wanted to play. He knew Firmino, Firmino has been brilliant for Liverpool in his amazing days. He's not had those amazing days since a long time. That's the reason Jota was signed on. But then that's now you see how he wanted him to play. Play the 70 minutes, get the goal in, make it look comfortable, and play the game. Firmino is a good holding. He holds the ball. He'll get you the minutes on the corners and so on and so forth. But then Jota was the main signing that he wanted to have, and they're getting results. What is also very keen here is Robertson is not playing, and he's not been missed as much as the day Van Dijk got injured, and everyone was like, it's over. So that's also something very keen to kind of analyze, because Liverpool, I think, have realized the fact that they didn't lose, or they were not thought of contenders because they didn't they would concede goals. They just couldn't score the goals.
Yeah. I think Klopp's master plan is to make everyone think that they're not in it, but then they're like kind of slyly in it, and that will be it. I mean, Shashwat, I know Burnley don't always provide a lot of a challenge, but I did feel that what if I just wondered they were physically outmatched as well, like Burnley. I think you don't expect that, but I think Burnley were physically outmatched in this game because they got a couple of yellow cards. Liverpool got none. It just looked like they saw this game out. And I just wonder, is Burnley's game plan? I mean, I said it last week. I think Burnley might be a relegation candidate this season. Is it that it's kind of getting stale, getting predictable? Burnley a little bit. It's looking like They need something new, something different.
Yeah, actually, problem with Burnley, which I think I have always seen there, means if you have seen the lineup lineup, they have played 1-2, means all the 11 players which they have means which is their which is in their team sheet, means
1 to 11.
means
Yeah.
yeah, 1-11.
Mhm.
And also one thing that Sean Dyche has always said, that he needs backing from the owners, which he's not having at Burnley at the moment. And whatever he has done so far has been commendable. Means with limited resources, with with only Chris Wood, Tarkowski, Benny, I think they have done it very well. And their game plan is always to frustrate the opponent. They will frustrate the living hell of anyone by parking the bus and then hitting you by counter. They did it last season against Liverpool also. I think they frustrated them, and then they nicked down one goal from penalty.
Yeah.
And means Liverpool didn't get a single chance, and this time they were prepared. Means I think Klopp was prepared that this will be their game plan, and so one very good cross from I think from their left
Simicast.
back, and
Yeah.
Simicast,
Mhm.
and it was scored by Jota, I think,
Yep.
first goal, and then the
Mhm.
second by Mane. So I think they knew about the game plan, and it's always means like you said, now they are looking means if they have got the backups for centre backs as well as every position almost they have. You can see Thiago is not playing, and I think it's a blessing in disguise, because Thiago, I think somewhere else when Thiago played last season, they slightly struggled, but now they means they are slowly and steadily from the last season also. They I think won the last 4 games, and they
Yeah.
qualified for the Champions League. So that confidence is coming from Liverpool at the moment.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, they
I
look
think
settled. They look
yeah,
settled. Liverpool looks settled. I think that's the thing. And that's why we don't
yeah,
have a lot to talk about with Liverpool, because it just looks settled. I mean, there's nothing that we can
Yeah,
talk
but
about.
what
Yeah.
was just an add-on? What was very like breathtaking to see was how Elliot played.
Elliot, yeah. Oh,
Like
that's what I was going to talk about. Harvey, actually, yeah, Harvey Elliot, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, he's benching
that
Thiago now, isn't he?
exactly.
yeah,
That was a level. So I was like, so they have Thiago, he's sitting on the bench, and you have like an academy player who's
Well,
just shining, and he was amazing.
well, he's not an academy player. He was signed from Fulham, but anyway, that's semantics and all that. But yeah, no, it's a good. I always thought Elliot was a winger, but turns out he could also be a midfielder. Who knew? Who knew? It's great. Well, it's good to talk about Liverpool. Obviously, doing very well. We'll change gears. We'll move on to Manchester City. And no matter what Sudan says, my prediction is great. I said 5-0. I'm gonna, peer pressure and all that, but it was 5-0. That's my prediction. It was 5-0. Somebody made me change it to 4-0, but I said 5-0. It was true. I think that it's that. I think we got that one right. I mean, off the bat. Got very surprised with Gabriel Jesus' performance. I thought we all thought he was going to be on the bench, but he wasn't. He played, and he played very well. Is that a future for him, right wing?
I think so. I think he could be rotated with Mahrez on that right wing, because he brings something new. Like with Mahrez, everyone knows he will cut inside on his favorite left foot and try to score a goal. But Jesus being right-footed, he brought back the memories of the Sterling and Sane days, right? Just when Sane played on the left wing and Sterling played on the right, and they both tried to, hug the byline and go put in some crosses. So I think he was brilliant, and we could see him playing on that right wing spot for the next few matches. Pep said that the players who played really good in this match will continue to play their positions against Arsenal. So I think he will start against Arsenal as well.
Yeah. I mean, they're only playing once a week, so I see no reason why they want to keep. I mean, it's Pep, so probably might want to change it, but I don't see any reason why they need to change it. I think it's also it's sometimes nice when you have a right-footed right winger. I know people like to have left-footed right wingers and right-footed left wingers. Sometimes it's nice and you can have a right-footed right winger, just something different. I think it's good. Today, I think the big question, obviously, every time we talk about it is strikers. That's the one thing we talk about, City strikers. Well, it's obvious that I think Ferran Torres is the guy who's probably Pep is going to use him as a striker this season. I think he has the attributes of striker. I don't know if he is a striker, but he has. I think of all the players that City have who are not strikers, I think he's probably the closest one that fits that mold. But my question is, do City need a 150 million pound striker? I mean, they need a striker. Yes, maybe they need a striker as a backup, as a bench player, but do they need a 150 million pound striker?
I think what Gaurav just said, like Jesus kind of coming on the right.
Mhm.
I think that's Pep's answer to not getting a 150 million euro striker. He's
Yeah,
basically
well,
like, I'll have to. He said, "We'll have to figure it out. I'll figure it out in some ways," and this is how he's figuring it out.
Yeah.
We had never thought that Jesus would kind of go on the right. That was something new. And then I think for Torres he's young. He'll just simply tell him to just kind of just play, just be free, just move around, run, and that's what he did. If you see the game, that's what he was doing basically. He basically was like at it. He was running towards the defenders. He was giving them a hard time with his movements, getting into the gaps and so on. Because just imagine who were playing beside him. Like it was Grealish, and there was Jesus starting, and then Grealish goes on in a crazy run and scores. And because it's exactly what Grealish said, that City has so much talent that defenders and players will be in a quandary, like who do they cover and how much do they mark them. And I think that's what they're using as an advantage. The striker thing, it's always good to have. They, in the first game, in the first game as well, City could have done with that was a talk. But then I think City have realized that that's not going to happen because Kane has already started for Spurs as well. He started this first game, after 75 stuff done and so on and so forth. That's not going to happen. So they're like, okay, we'll save the money and then we'll see how this goes, because they have good players and they have talent. They don't have dirt of talent, and it's just that when they start clicking, I think the first goal, it's so ironic that it was a home goal, the first goal that this City scored. And then they started with like, okay, we have to still score because we've not. And then the floodgates started opening.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they say where the goal has to literally go off your backside and then it kind of like hits you and goes, and kind of that with Jack Grealish. Gaurav, I guess to give a blunt answer, I just say yes or no. If the choice is that you stick with the current team, maybe you get a 20-30 million pound striker. I know that's pocket change, but we talk about it as pocket change, even though that's a lot of money. But either that or you go for a 150 million striker. What do you think? I mean, and keep the current team as it is. As a City fan, do you want to see an expensive striker come in? Do you think City need it? Let's assume that they want to win all 4 trophies. Do they need an expensive striker, or do you think they can work with what they have and maybe get like a mid-range, low-range striker? I don't know, we're talking like that, but yeah, where do you stand?
Honestly, I think we need it because, like, if we are going for a mid-range striker, I think it would be in the bracket of Jesus, right? Like similar sort of player who might get some goals, but Jesus already does. And plus, we also have a very good striker in our youth ranks, Liam Delap.
Yeah,
he actually broke the record for
Delap.
for the
I played him on
under
FIFA
20.
I played him just to know, I played him FIFA 21. I got into a 93 potential, like a 93 rating, just so people know. I can do that.
He actually broke the record for maximum number of goals scored in a season in under 21 league last season, and he is very highly rated. His prep already said that he's not going to send him out on loan, and he will be playing some role this season, like similar to what Foden did a couple of years back. But to be honest, I think we do need a striker, like in the bracket of Kane or maybe Haaland.
Okay, well,
but when this
but the number 9 situation, but that's the thing. Like, do you want muscle or because you have the skill around you, so you basically need somebody who can hold off against PSG or Ramos when you're in the final or somewhere, against Bayern or if you play a Champions League final, then you need a strong player. I think that's.
But is Kane that type of player? I don't know if Kane is a hold up kind of player. I don't know actually. I don't know. I have no idea.
The problem for me, the problem with Torres is that his finishing is really good and he also makes that runs behind the defenders, but his physicality, like Aguero was also like shorter in height, but it was very difficult to get him off the ball, and Torres sorts of lacks that. He could be knocked off the ball very easily. That is the issue with me for Torres.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's something we'll keep an eye on. We still got a week or a bit to go, and we'll definitely have a transfer review after the deadline day. So we'll see whether we review the Harry Kane signing or what we'll be doing about that. But anyway, Shashwat, quick question though for you about this one. I know people talking about the strikers, but there's an interesting situation brewing with the central defenders now, because City have got 3 very good defenders. They've got Laporte, they've got Diaz, and they've got John Stones. Stones is kind of out with an injury, I guess, at the moment. When he comes back, do you still leave Laporte and Diaz, or do you bring Stones in? If you do bring Stones in, who do you take out from that team?
This is a tough question because
well, that's why I'm asking you, right? We ask the tough questions.
Because-
We don't do easy stuff.
Because in my opinion, I think Ruben Dias will start definitely in all the games.
Okay.
Now, because last season, if you saw that John Stones and Diaz had a great partnership, and Laporte is someone who is scoring also. Means it's not that he's not scoring. He scored against in Euros also, and he's a scoring defender at the moment. And this week also he scored 1 goal. So in my opinion, if there is an opportunity, means if John Stones comes back, I will stick with if I'm City fan, then I will stick with Diaz and Laporte, because Laporte has that experience also, and he's and that means that factor also comes in, because he's a good, means he does score goals also. But John Stones is
He
also
scored
a very
goals as
good
well.
option.
John Stones scored goals.
Yeah.
as
He's
well
very
last
good
season.
very good in the air.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, these are rich
and-
people problems, right? If you call them rich club problems, when you have like 3
Yeah.
defenders to do so. I do think
Three
I think one thing that might happen is the Port might be asked to play left back, because I mean they do have an issue at left back. So it might just be a case of saying the Port, you just play left back, and the other two, and then keep everyone happy. Maybe, I don't know. I know he's played a few games at left back, but one to keep an eye on. We'll see where that goes.
Because the issue is the left back thing with when with Mendy and so on, and Ake, and we saw the first 2 games. There was very clear. I think that was where Pep was like, okay, I'm done with you, or something like that, basically, and then said, okay, look what comes in.
Yeah.
But Stones has had a long Euro as well.
Mhm.
So that's something I think he'll just give him as much, because Grealish as well, but then Grealish didn't start all the games. Stones started all the games for England, and he played through and through. So he'll just kind of give him more time.
Yeah,
to settle
probably
in.
after the international break,
Yes,
I guess
exactly.
we'll probably
So
start.
I think that's when he comes in to see, because that's when the Champions League draws will be drawn out and so on. You will get to know a little. You'll be able to plan ahead a little, because it's good. It's a good problem to have for Pep. It's a good problem.
Yeah, of course. It's a good. Yeah, and of course the Champions League draw, and then they'll have a few warm up midweek, because we know City get easy draws in the Champions League, so they'll have some warm up games. They probably will get an easy draw. I'm not even joking. They probably will get an easy draw. The only good thing is this year at least Lille are champions, so they won't get Lille. Otherwise, I feel like City and Lille is going to be in the same one, but at least that won't happen.
The City and
God.
PSG could happen. So
No, that's not going to happen. But anyway, no. We'll see. We will see what happens. I'm sorry, I'm taking lots of digs at City. I shouldn't. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to Manchester United. And Knayha, let's start with you this one. Where do we start? Let's start with Matic and Fred. Let's start with the midfield. I mean, let's start with selections. I mean, it is. I was baffled when I looked at that team. I was like, what is all he playing at? Is he underestimating Southampton? Does he have too much faith in these players? It just the selections were mind-boggling. I mean, we didn't even see Varane play, which I think a lot of people expected, but he didn't play. But I don't think that was a big deal in this one. But
how can you start Martial?
Okay.
I'm like that's where it started. I'm like, Martial is starting. Why? What's wrong with let's keep Greenwood. Let's put that. You have Pogba on his top form. You put Bruno there. You start Sancho. You have so many options. What are you doing? Like, why? And then you go with Matic. I'm like,
that midfield doesn't work. Matic doesn't work.
I'm like, what happened? How? You're basically telling that you want 2 players who are not going to push as quickly higher as they want, and then McTominay will kind of carry the ball. Matic is good on the ball. He'll hold the ball for you, but he won't move with the ball at the pace that McTominay does. I was surprised. I'm like, why is this happening? And then
McTominay was injured, so that's the reason why he didn't start. Just to be clear. So,
but then if you still had Pogba, you still had Fred. The idea is like if you play that midfield, you just slow things down.
Mm-hmm.
You are not attacking enough, in my opinion, against a team which you have drubbed like literally 9-1 last time.
9-0.
9-0 and 9-1 once, I think, before that as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, why would you not kind of crush them in the first, with that lineup? We're getting thumped this time again. It's not that they have an amazing defense. They were not playing. Southampton just got confidence by the way the ball was moving in the midfield, I think. They were like, okay, they're not scoring. They're not scoring this game, because the last time we met, in the first 15 minutes, we had, I think, 2 goals or 3 goals, something like that. And
Yeah, but they
the
were
game
down to
was-
10 men. I mean, that is a very
Yeah.
cute score, and they were
Yeah,
down to 10.
Vestergaard and
They were
everything, yeah.
practically down to 10 men by the first minute. So I mean, it's hard
Yes.
to make too many conclusions. But
But
yeah,
I was shocked. That was something I was like that was it was a it was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Sancho had a perfect thing. Okay, you want to give him time, but you did start. Then I don't know, he was not in sync or how he was playing. It just didn't make sense. And Harry Maguire, he had his worst game. I was like, what was happening with him? He was sleeping or something. Did he not get a proper nap? Because he was sleeping.
I think so. Yeah. I was really shocked with Harry. A lot of people played badly, and I think Harry Maguire was one of them. I think Harry Maguire is one of those players who I think he's starting to believe his own hype, or he's kind of getting a little bit too comfortable in his position. Like, where you feel like, because all the talk is about Lindelof is going to go and Varane is going to come in. And sometimes you can take your eye off the ball with that. Maybe he needs to realize that he could be the one who'd be having to make way as well.
I'll be happy. I'll be really happy if Ole makes it. But then Ole is not known to make those choices. Like,
those big calls, right? Yeah,
he's never done that. He won't upset his players, as he says. He's like, this is the system we're going with, and I don't know how the system works, but then I don't know.
That will be interesting. Shashwat, I mean, Knayha touched upon Martial, and I think that's a very important point. Is the time up now for him at Man United? Like, is his time up as a Man United player? Sorry, what's Knayha like?
To say bye to Martial. It's like bye because his wife wanted him to Real Madrid. Please take him if they want him.
I mean, we're fans, so we might be looking at it a little biased. So Shashwat, is this time up at United? Or do you think he still has a future at the club? I mean, let's assume Oli, is neutral on this, which he's not, but is his time up, or should his time be up at the club?
Yeah, I think because he has played so many games since he is inconsistent, and Manchester United have a very good striker in Cavani, means experienced striker, and also Greenwood is doing well. Means he can be used with that position.
Yeah.
And if Rashford is fit, then you can use him also, play him also as a striker or false nine. So I think it's good that you can play. They have three very good choices Ole has. So I think, in my opinion, Martial, because he has been slightly inconsistent always, for the few seasons now, and you can play. And in my opinion, they will try and give when Cavani comes, then he will be getting more chances. And also Greenwood is one of the options which they will use, and he's scoring also. Means I think in both the games he has scored so far. Against in the first game also, and today also. Yesterday also. So I think Martial's time is up, and now he should be looking at another club. United should try and sell him to the other clubs.
Yeah, the issue is the only issue is his contract. He's got 250 grand a week contract, and God alone knows who will want to buy him for that amount. I think he's still got, like, I don't know, when did he sign? Maybe last year, the year before. I think he signed a new contract, so he's still got like 2 or 3 years to run on it. So
3 years.
Three more years to run it. I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna go. He should go, or maybe he should. I don't know. But there's still people out there that are fans of him. By the way, if you watched Mark Rolfich's thing, he was like totally defending him throughout the whole game. But I mean, that's the thing. I think there's some people who like him, but I don't know. I still find that, it's sometimes you think he's a good striker, but then you see what Cavani does, you see what Greenwood does, and you kind of notice there's a difference between the two. There's just a gap, and I don't think he's getting there for me anyway. We'll see what happens with him. Maybe he'll be one of the stories to follow. Gaurav, one final, I guess there's 2 questions here, but I'll start with you first on this one. Jadon Sancho, what did you make of his appearance? Like, it was only 35 minutes. But actually, you know what? No, not Jadon Sancho. I don't want to talk about Jadon Sancho. Actually, Jadon Sancho is fine. Donny van de Beek. I put this tweet out. I put this post out. I said, it's one thing when you get benched by McTominay, Bruno, and Pogba, and that's fine. You can kind of accept it. You can kind of understand it. Fred is a gone case or whatever. I'm not even going to go on that one. That's a manager's favorite thing, but that's fine. But then to get pushed aside, you have Matic who comes in, you have Lingard who comes in before you. It's a statement, isn't it? It's a statement that there's, no matter what, I'm not playing you. Like, I need to win, but I'm not playing you. I need to pick up. I need to hold the game. Like, I'm 3-0 up and I'm still not picking you. I'm 1-0 and I need to win. I'm still not picking you. I think it's a statement, isn't it, on the manager at this point for Donny van de Beek?
It definitely is. Definitely is. I think we discussed this in the last episode as well, right?
Mhm.
I said that he might be looking for Pogba to move on. Like when his contract
Yeah.
ends, he thinks maybe he'll get some chances. But I don't see that happening
Yeah.
until and unless Ole is there. He doesn't trust him at all. Like you
Yeah.
said, like if you don't bring him at 3-0 up, if you don't bring him when you are 1-0 down, then there's no place for you in the team. He should definitely look to move somewhere, maybe on loan.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think we all thought he was a Pogba replacement. But at this point, he doesn't even seem like that because I mean, if he was a Pogba replacement, fair enough, then he would come in this one, in this game where they would have where they took off Matic, but they didn't bring him on. They brought on Lingard, who they're trying to sell. So it's just, I mean, it's a sad situation really with Van de Beek. It's a player that I think a lot of people like. We haven't seen a lot of him, like him. But I think for the sake of his career, that this and I was saying that at what point does he start to think that maybe I don't have a future here? I think this is the game where he's going to think, I have no future here. I literally have no future here, because that's what's dropping. Knayha, I think one final question actually wasn't talking about Jadon Sancho. The one player that I think has gone a bit under the radar of not performing well, I think is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Because I saw Tino Livramento play and I was like, that's what I want my right back to do. I know he was playing as a wing back, so it's a bit different, but that's what I want my right back to do. And I mean, he showed up. I mean, he showed Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka and we know he's not a very good attacking force, but I don't think he's even that good now defensively. I think he's got a few chinks in his armor. Again, another one of those players I think who's got a little bit comfortable in his position.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would bring in Dalot for the next one if I had to.
I think that's exactly. He's just become too comfortable there because he knows that he had a good season. He had a good last season. People were a fan. People just couldn't get past him. But getting past so easily, like he was on the floor a couple of times and the ball was already gone. So that's it's again like collectively that game didn't go well for United. There were a lot of bad performances overall. But yes, Wan-Bissaka, goes under the radar because the whole team kind of didn't perform. But then if you start Dalot in the next game, does Bissaka change something or does it make a statement? Because eventually Ole will play he has to play his best squad. He feels that Dalot is not his best squad. He's made that choice because Dalot didn't start. He went on loan and he's now come back. And then he's not given them many. I think in preseason as well, he didn't start the games. Dalot did come in during halftime or the substitutions. So that just tells intent. Yes, United have had this problem. They've had this problem where players have become comfortable and they're like the whole fan base is screaming that why can't what happened to Luke Shaw? Like this is exactly how it was. Like people were like, why are you even starting him? Why would you do this? And then he just comes out in the one next year and is the best player United has ever seen. And so it's just timing. I think Bissaka, just because also he's had the most rest in my view. Because he was not in the Euros as well. So I don't know. Could be that he's worked on some parts of his game which we've not seen. But collectively, that United squad was not at its best. So hence, I think I'm not too worried about him. But yes, if he gets found out in the next game that we have a problem, I think Ole's best solution is going to be they're going to play back three then, and then do it. So something like that. So he'll have to think around it.
Yeah, because I mean, he didn't have a good preseason either. I mean, I know it went a little bit under noticed, but I think he didn't have a good preseason. And now he's not a good. Even the last game, he wasn't very good. He was okay. He was a 6, I guess. This one was pretty bad as well. So anyway, something to look at. But we know all these fiercely loyal, so I don't see any changes happening for the next game. But might be something to again keep an eye on. Anyway, well, before we move on to the final game, and we're getting there. Very quick question, Gaurav, for you actually. Newcastle, Burnley, Norwich, Watford, and Wolves. If you were to pick, I think these were my 5 picks of I guess is that my 5? Yeah, I don't think I'm missing anyone. I think those are my 5 that I would say are probably going to be in and around the relegation spots. Which 3 are you most afraid of? Based on judging performance, which 3 are you most afraid of between these teams? And unless there's a 4th one or another one that I'm missing, but I think there's the 5 that have probably caught my eye of being they're in trouble. But I don't know.
I think Norwich. You said Norwich, right?
Yeah, Norwich. Yeah, Norwich for sure, definitely in trouble. Yeah.
And maybe Newcastle as well. Like they look good towards the end of last season, but they haven't I don't think they had a really good preseason and they have struggled. So I think Newcastle might be in danger as well, and maybe Burnley. I didn't think that they would be there because they always felt that they had a good solid defense when you compare to the other bottom half teams, but it looks sort of disorganized right now, so they might be going down as well.
Yeah, well, there's Crystal Palace as well. Remember, Crystal Palace as well might be somewhere on there, and Watford.
Also,
you can never tell what Watford will do. Yeah,
but just to throw in a I don't know thing to this, maybe Leeds this season.
Yeah,
could be Leeds. Could be. I've not because I don't know. I just those games like last season will be like they're going to score any minute.
Yeah,
they're going to score any minute, like any moment, and the defense system has been so porous for them. It was so really well knit. They'll fight for each other and so on and so forth. But in this time, it just seems to be much more open. So, I think Leeds is going to be around that relegation zone. Newcastle, I don't think they'll be relegated. Steve, they can park the bus. They're basically like, okay, score from 50 yards. We're not going to let it through because they've known this, and they're used to these relegations. But then I don't know. It could be. I think
Newcastle is
something which.
Yeah, it's a strange case where every season they seem to be in trouble, and somehow most of the times they've managed to pull themselves out of it. But you never know with Newcastle, and the fans are very annoyed actually with the whole takeover thing that happened. So anyway, we'll keep our eyes peeled on that one. That'll be an interesting story as well, of course. And that's why we don't need a Super League. We need relegation battles as well, because that's what excites us. But some people don't seem to like that. But anyway, all right, moving on to the big one, Chelsea against Arsenal. We'll start with Chelsea. Actually, it was Arsenal against Chelsea, not Chelsea. Arsenal against Chelsea. We'll start with Chelsea. We'll start with the winners first. Gaurav, were you impressed with Lukaku? First game? I mean, well, not first game, but re-debut. Were you impressed with Lukaku?
Yes, I was. Even though they were playing Arsenal and they're not top quality.
Oh my God!
Sorry.
And so it begins. Sorry. Is it? So it begins. Is that the word? So it begins. Okay. All right.
But yeah, he was impressive. I've always been to be honest, I've always been a fan of Lukaku. I think his first touch, that whole saga was not his first is not as bad as people say it is, and his hold up play and his pace and finishing is really good. I think moving to Italy for a couple of seasons has really helped him. He has matured as a player, and I think he could have scored 2 more goals if I'm not wrong. One was a brilliant save from that header from Leno.
Yeah,
that should have gone in, and I think he will be there for the Golden Boot up and running.
I think he'll. We said he's probably going to get 25. I think that's what we had predicted. We didn't do over under. I don't think any of you guys were not sure. We did over under. I think we said 25 is reasonable. So I think 25 is a reasonable target for him. He might even get 30 in the Premier League. Only in the Premier League, we're saying. Not overall. Overall, he could probably get more than 30. But I think 25 is a reasonable expectation from him for the season. Based on that, Shashwat though, speaking of Lukaku. Should Pablo? I know they were playing the CM Punk. They're playing the Cult of Personality song at halftime. We're trying to channel CM Punk, but maybe they need to ask WWE for a Be a Star sponsor shirt for Pablo Mari because of what happened to him. Because of don't be a bully, be a star. I mean, but here's the thing though. I actually thought Arsenal were very good attacking wise. I mean, as much as you can expect, I think they were pretty good. They had Chelsea on the ropes quite a few times. It's just their defense just let them down. I mean, Reece James was pretty much playing as a right winger who had nothing else to do. It's just. Tactically he got it wrong, Arteta, didn't he?
Yeah, I think if you see defensively, if you see, I would have, if I was Arteta, I would have played 3-4-3, just like we did in FA Cup 2 seasons ago, and also when we defeated them last season at Stamford Bridge, we played 3-4-3 in that day also, and we play this because Kieran Tierney is normally goes forward. He's very good going forward, and then there is one cover up. But means this is where we got it wrong last night. And also I think Mari, and you can see, means in that left area was completely free, and Reece James, Mason Mount, and Lukaku just toyed with with Mari and Rob Holding last night. Means it was just a shambles. Means what we were seeing means it was completely. And yeah, to be honest, I think if we were slightly unlucky also because two of our centre backs, which I think should will be our first choice centre back from the start of the season. That is Gabriel and White, Ben White. Yeah. So these two should be. And I think if I was Arteta, I will try and, because this 3-4-3 situation got him a little bit of success at the moment. So I will play that for few games, and then if the points come against the big teams especially, and if against Norwich, I will play back to 4-2-3-1. Burnley is also same 4-2-3-1. So you need to experiment, and this is what he is not doing. Means he's just making everything just like because we are not getting anything from the midfield, and our strikers are at the moment in such a bad patch. Whether if you put anyone there, since Aubameyang is not scoring, Lacazette didn't score much in the preseason also. So as Martinelli, we have tried that also, but he's not working. Since nothing is working in the upfront, and this is just a big concern for Arsenal, because earlier this was our strength since when in 2013-14, since even when Wenger was there, means that area which we had Ramsey, Cazorla, Ozil, since that was our best area. Means and even Giroud used to score. Means many people slag him that he is a lamppost and all, but that guy used to score too many goals and some very good goals. He was very good in the air. And now Lacazette also is struggling as well as Aubameyang.
Yeah, it's something to do with strikers and players and giving them new contracts. When you give Ozil, you give Ozil a new contract, he stopped performing. You give Aubameyang a new contract, he stopped performing. Maybe players, we just give one contract. Maybe United have got onto something by not giving Paul Pogba a new contract because they know.
He's performing now. At least he's 9 assists in 2 games.
No, but anyway, Knayha, we'll go back to Chelsea for a second again, and. It's hard to draw conclusions because it's Arsenal, and they're in a bit of bad form. Not that they're Arsenal, they're crap, but they're Arsenal in a bit of a bad patch at the moment. They were missing lots of players. But is this the team you would have, the one that they started? Obviously Kante will probably come in at some point, and you would expect the left wing back situation to be alternating. But by and large, is this the team that you see them going with, or do you see that there's a place for Werner in this team? Which I think is interesting, because Werner didn't start in this one. He played 2 minutes. Is that where you see them going? Do you see a place for Werner in this team, or do you think this is sort of the makeup that will be sort of the first team that they will go with?
I think there's going to be a change between. I think this is pretty much set itself in stone, because you saw them efficient. Like they were not lacking when you have a focal point and the two playing on the right and left with Havertz and Mount. And Jorginho and Kante later coming in. Imagine Kante was not fit also is a fact, but then they have Kante as well there. With Kovacic staying, I think they're pretty much set in stone. This team, it's going to be extremely hard for Werner to break through. But then there will be teams. There will be teams which are physical, which are not going to be that flexible enough to move around, and then Werner will play. Because if you see the minute Werner comes in, he comes right next to Lukaku. It doesn't go on the left or on the right. He stays with him, and he basically is like, okay, you hold on, you give me a flick or something, I'll run across it. So it's pretty much set in stone. But then what is going to be more interesting is okay, Arsenal, as Shashwat already said, and we know that they were not playing the best defense. They didn't have their first defenders actually also, and it's very harsh. After the Brentford game for Arsenal as well, to kind of think of the fact that they had Lukaku right next. They know what he did in Inter, and imagine the whole Chelsea team's spirit. They know that they have Lukaku, and they know Arsenal are not playing the best defenders. Reece James given that much width on the right, and with Tierney going up, and Malik just couldn't hold. But then for Chelsea, this is pretty much set in stone. There is, I think, the only question would be how much does Alonso start? Because that's the only question in my mind. Because okay, he's always had those moments in his when the season starts, but he's never been able to kind of hold on to that level of performance through the games. And with Champions League, and they're going to defend the title for Champions League this season. There's going to be more pressure, so on. So when people know how they play now as well, and then everyone knows what Lukaku offers them. So that's the only area. What I would want to have seen is Chalobah starting the game again and scoring. That would have been like the piece, the cherry on the cake. That would have been like, wow, you just kind of blow everyone away.
Yeah, he's I think 5th choice right now, so I don't know how many games he's gonna play, but that'll be interesting to watch. With centre backs, I always feel that if you're not a first choice centre back, it's actually really, really hard being a backup centre back, because centre backs don't usually get substituted. They don't usually play because you want to build a partnership, so they don't get rested. So it's always hard to be a backup centre back. But anyway, we'll see where his career goes. Shashwat, where does Arteta go from here? Because I mean, they've got Manchester City up next. It doesn't get easier for them. But where does Arteta go from here now?
As I said, in my opinion, he should be leave. The board should make a decision quickly, and because and I think to start a season with 3 defeats, I think I will count it as a defeat, because Man City are just too strong. I think I don't see going at Etihad and getting anything there. So, but I think because he will have some excuse that now my full team was not there and all that.
His only excuse is trust the process.
No, that's not trust the process. I'll tell you what he'll say, but I'll let Shashwat finish first. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So after this, after the international break, I think if because this week they have also West Brom, and I think that I think maybe we should win that, but let's see. But I think right from Norwich, Burnley, and then Tottenham, these 3 means the first 10 games. If he is able to improve, means after these 3 games, if 7 games, next 7 games, if he is able to collect few points, then I think he will. And if more defeats comes, then I think that is it. I think
okay, let's say 7 games. How many points do you expect? Just a number. Well, how many points do you expect him to get to keep his job?
Next 7 games, at least I think they if he has to keep his job, that is 5 wins, because next game
5 wins,
are
15
against
points.
Okay. Yeah, 15 points.
But
out of a possible 21.
Yeah, 21, 15 points. Fair. Now, I mean, that's what Shashwat thinks. That not necessarily what the Arsenal board thinks, but that's what Shashwat thinks should be there, which is fine. 5 out of 10. What he will say after the City game is he will say it is what it is. Not it is what it is. That is what he says. It is what it is. Gaurav, though, I mean, it's interesting. Something that we say in entertainment is that it's okay to love something and it's okay to hate something. Because that's good. What you don't want is people to have an apathy towards something. You don't want people to be apathetic. You don't. And I think what Shashwat is saying is kind of like already accepting that they're going to lose to City. I think that's what a lot of Arsenal fans probably feel. Maybe 99.9% of Arsenal fans feel. You know what? We're going to lose. And that is as if you're an Arsenal board member, that's concerning, because that means that the players, the fans have already accepted that this is what's going to happen. And then you lose hope, and then that kind of drives down, revenue and things like that. I know we're cynical in saying stuff, but then that kind of drives down engagement and revenue. Is that a point? Are we at a point there where the board should not be concerned that the fans are probably kind of not necessarily turning on the manager, but just kind of turning off from the club and being like, you know what, we don't care anymore because there's nothing to care about?
I think so. I actually saw a video like an hour or so back of Arsenal fans stopping Arteta outside the stadium and asking him to leave.
Yeah.
Like the video just surfaced. But the problem is, who do you replace him with? And I think after the transfer window closes, what will the new manager do? He's not going to get his signings. And we all know it's very difficult to sign players in the January transfer window. Like players cost like 1.5 times like you normally do. So who do you replace him with? And will you back him up? Because I honestly think Arteta hasn't been backed financially by the board. Like he has spent 110 million, I think, maximum.
130 million pounds.
But the team hasn't improved actually.
No, but the question is, are the signings directed by the board or are they Arteta signings? Because if they're Arteta signings, then you can't say that he's not been backed because he's been backed and he's been the players that he wants. But if those signings are driven by Edu or they're driven by the board and Arteta has told, you know what, this is what you're getting, work with it, then I guess you're right that it's back. But I don't know. I mean, Shashwat, do you know the answer to this? Are these signings Arteta signings? Are these signings the board signings? I mean, I don't know. Gaurav, do you know the Shashwat now? Because I don't think they're the board signing. I think this is players that Arteta.
This is Arteta has asked for them actually. Arteta has,
so then, I mean, Gaurav, then
put an eye for them for a long time.
To be honest, the signings doesn't make sense. Like you let go of a really good goalkeeper in Martinez and to sign a backup who's not going to replace for more money and who's not going to replace Leno until and unless you think Leno is going to leave after the end of season. So you are maybe planning for the future. And then you spend 50-60 millions on Ben White. Like, is he worth it really? Like,
is any English player ever worth the money that you spend on them? To be honest,
yeah, but to be honest, I don't think any manager is going to improve Arsenal. What their current team is, maybe 6th to 10th position. That's where they're going to finish. Even if someone really good comes, and I don't see a good manager available right now. Like who they are going to replace with.
There's Antonio Conte if he wants that. I mean, if he wants a challenge, I mean, that you don't get a bigger challenge than Arsenal. I don't know if he'll want that. I don't know. And I mean, it's hard to say. I think Antonio Conte does bring a little bit of swagger. He brings that reputation, but he needs money. And I think that's something.
Yeah.
And if at any point Arsenal say, no, I'm not going to give you any money, like Inter Milan, you'd be like, thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's told Inter. Like, if you're not backing a project, I'm not staying here. What's the point?
Yeah. I think he's very protective of his legacy and the fact that
Inter basically put up all their players on sale, right? Like they said, everyone is on sale for the right price.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So but I guess that's a good point. Who do Arsenal sign as a manager if Arteta does leave? Well, I mean, I said Patrick Vieira, but I don't think that will happen. I'm sure.
Could be Frank Lampard.
If he wants to, will he cross the divide? I don't think he will. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see.
I have a feeling they will bring back Wenger. I just have evidence because he has not retired, and maybe after if Arteta fails miserably, because even many fans are turning against him, but I think board will keep him because and as for the signings also, I think these are Arteta's plus board's both agreement with the players they have signed. And so I think they will and if they will give chance to Arteta,
even
something miserably.
That's true. I mean, I expect him. Yeah, I expect him to fail because you don't spend 130 million pounds and then turn around and sack the manager after 2 games. You don't do that. I mean, you could, but you wouldn't. So I think they'll keep him for a while. I guess this question is how long is a while. I think that, and I think to your point, I think 5 wins out of 10 is probably what would be expected. Sorry, Knayha.
What is more interesting is will the players start protesting? That's what I'm kind of thinking about. I'm like, okay, you have Ben White who just came in from for 50 million. He has the money, so he's made a transfer. He'll be like, I'm here. But then the younger lads, look at the team that started against Chelsea. They're all the young guns. Like when they look at who they're playing, okay, they're getting the opportunity. But then when they're looking back and they look at the bench and the way they're playing, they're not scoring. How long does it take for them to start feeling this is not happening? This is the way they kind of turned at Chelsea when Jose came back again. So I think how long does it take? Because okay, Arteta is a good man, that's everybody said, but then you need to win matches. You need to show. Okay, if I ask Shashwat today, what is your best 11, and how do you expect them to play? It will be a very hard question. Like. Yeah. For other teams, it could be a much easier answer. So that's the question. Like, if we are discussing about the way they are playing and is this really making sense, think about the players he is motivating to, push to play. And but I don't know how bad Tierney's injury is. If that's a serious injury, it's, oh my God, that's going to break hearts now.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tierney is unlucky with what's it about Arsenal? There's another thing, right? Arsenal captains and getting injured all the time. That happens to players as well. I mean, it's just it's one of those tragic clubs that Arsenal are. I think there's just so much potential, but always so unfulfilled. But anyway, I mean, Yeah, I think it's a rolling question, I guess, that we'll probably be asking each week. Every week that Arsenal lose, we'll probably just be keeping on going on that. We'll probably do this again next week because Shashwat already said that Arsenal are going to lose to Manchester City. I don't know, Gaurav agrees with that, but not that Gaurav agrees with that, but that he shares that optimism that yes, it's already a foregone conclusion. But anyway, we'll follow up with that on that in a preview show for this weekend. So we'll come back to that. But one final comment that I want to make, and not to debate with anyone, but I think one final comment is I watched all 4 teams play. I watched Chelsea play, I watched Liverpool play, I watched City play, and I saw Man United play. I think the 4 supposed contenders. And I think I can tell you quite frankly, I thought the most underwhelming, and I know there were different levels of teams that were playing, but I think United were easily the most underwhelming of the 4 teams. And I think that, to me, it tells me that my prediction of them a comfortable 4th, I think, is the best that United can offer. I know people like going the United world-class team. They really don't. They're not on that level. I mean, I don't know if anybody here agrees with me, but they're not. They're not on the level of the Liverpools.
I just want to see how Cavani and Varane fit in. I want to see that, because Cavani, that when he came, suddenly, we were discussing this on the show as well. When Cavani came, we were like, that's just him. That's what a top-class player gets you. He just suddenly picks the whole team up and is like, give me the ball, I'll score.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'm kind of hoping for. And also the Varane signing is pretty interesting. I want to see that. I want to see them. See, Sancho, I know I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about him. He's going to possibly be struggling. I don't know how this is going to be. But then, I want to see how that kind of.
Yeah, Jadon Sancho's kind of a little bit making me a bit afraid as well. But anyway, we'll see. Maybe just fitness. But we won't make this a United-centric show. But I think that's just something that I observed, and maybe people have different observations. But that's just what I thought. I think it will be between Liverpool, City, and Chelsea. One of those teams might fall out by maybe February, and then we'll probably have a 2-horse race. But I think I don't know which of those 3 teams at the moment will fall out. But that's where I'm leaning towards. But we've got a big Liverpool-Chelsea game this weekend, so one of those teams will drop points. So we know that at least one of them will drop points. So that will be one to watch, and we'll definitely preview that one as well. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, Gaurav, Knayha, and Shashwat for joining me today to share your thoughts. And, but maybe a little bit of therapy for Shashwat as well. And for Knayha as well. So get a little bit of things off our chest. You go through those weekends, don't you, where things are nice and then things are not so nice. So, but hopefully there will be better weekends to come, and we'll keep. Sorry, Gaurav?
Hopefully not next week.
Yeah, well, it will be a good weekend for someone. It will not be a good weekend for someone. Hopefully they're better weekends, but yes, probably not next week. I don't know. I mean, I think for Shashwat, I think a good weekend for Arsenal might just be the fact that they score a goal. I don't know. Where we go with that, right?
So that would be a good start.
That would be a good weekend. Maybe a 2-1 defeat might still be a good weekend, right? It's levels, right? That we talk about. Maybe for United, the fact that they, have a 0-0 draw, I don't know. I don't know what would be a good weekend for United fans at the moment. It's just
United will against Wolves. I think they will. Yeah, they will win.
Oh, please don't get started.
No,
please. Oh my God. Okay.
7-0 win again.
Yeah, already banned one person. I had to ban a second person. No. We'll follow up on that on the preview show. We'll see where that one goes. But anyway, thank you so much, guys, for joining me. It's always a pleasure to have you, and thank you so much for watching. Yes, thank you so much for watching the show. If you're sad to that, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Also, comment about what did you think about the game that happened this weekend, and what do you think about Arteta's tactics? What do you think of all these selections? What do you think of City's problem of riches? And all of that, all of those questions. You can talk about that as well in the comments. And to stay tuned to the channel, we'll have more shows coming up. We've got the Champions League draw coming this week, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. I don't think we'll be doing a review show for that, but we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see if there's any interesting stories to follow up on that. I guess Real Madrid and PSG in the same group now. Well, actually, they can't be in the same group because I think they're in the same table, so that they can't be in the same group. But that would have been a nice one to follow up on. But anyway, we'll keep an eye. If there's any interesting transfer stories that come up, we'll keep an eye on that as well. So stay tuned, and you will get notifications for that. I have 2 videos. Thank you so much. Have a good day or night, whatever time you're watching this, and take care. Bye-bye.